Are we really live already? That's awesome. Hey, good morning, everybody. That's some echo we got there. Echo. Good morning, Dave. Hello. My name is Dave. I am music director of this ragtag bunch of people called Soulshine. So give it up for Soulshine. We are a little short-staffed today, but we got some great folks here, and we have a lot of great people in the seats, but we don't sing from our seats, we sing from our feet. Please stand up. We won't ask you to kneel, we won't ask you to stand up and sit down, except right now. That's it. Promise. We're gonna do one of our favorite old chants. It's pretty simple. I'll feed you the lines, and Eric is gonna sing. How are you gonna sing it? Ready? So you sing, crowd, go. Yeah. Now this is where Eric used to take it to church. Eric, take it to church. Big key change. One more time, sing one more time. for Soulshine. Nice singing.
Hello, hello, hello. Woo.
Hello.
You guys hanging? Sweet. All right, we're hanging. Soulshine is hanging. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unity. Is that where you meant to be this morning? I hope. Yes? Good. You guys are looking at me like, shoot, we're at Unity? That's not right. My name is Nate Hitchcock. I'm going to be your flight attendant on your soul journey this morning. It's today and this morning at the same time. We've got a great team for you today, let's start with the team. Our speaker, Reverend Cyvlia, is going to give us a great talk. It's fascinating how Reverend Cyvlia just falls right off now. It's only been a few weeks.
And it's fascinating how I don't flinch at it anymore.
Very cool. For those of you who don't know, she was just ordained here at Unity a couple months ago now. Yeah. She has immediately stepped into full veteran status. Yeah, it's like she's been doing it for decades. All right, we have Reverend Jim Passmore, another wonderful reverend. Jim's going to be handling our prayer today. Soulshine, of course, is our fantastic musical group who handles the tunes. And Kalinda's stepping in on late notice for Donna B., who is homesick today. I'm sure she's watching online, so if we can send her some love, that'd be awesome. William and Ginny are handling our youth today, which I hear we have a pretty big crowd of youths, which is awesome. Dave's going to be doing our meditation, and we have our fantastic slides and sound and sound booth back there. We have Nico on live string, Kevin on slides and sound, and we have Chris Tippett on cameras. You know, that team is there every week, doing it over and over and over again. I had the privilege last week of actually not doing anything. I'm in the sound booth as well, off on a regular basis. It was so bizarre to just sit in a chair and participate in the service. So big kudos to them for being there every week to do this for us. All right, Unity, we are a wild soul sanctuary. If you don't know what that means, ask the person next to you, they probably do. But we had a wonderful service a few months back, and that came up. It was a really cool thing, so it's now been adopted as our Unity call-out. The Unity howl. It's pretty cool. But what does it mean to be a wild soul sanctuary? I'm going to be quick with it. How does a wild soul order a pizza? Make me one with everything. Oh, come on, that's a good one. So we're going to leave it at that. That's your wild soul for you. We howl at the beginning of service, and we want to be one with everything in the process. All right. Okay, we have our chair over here for those who can't be with us today, either through passing on or if they're just physically unable to be here. And if you have someone in your heart, you can place them there, and they can participate in the service with us today. Our land acknowledgement. This is a new thing we've developed over the past couple months, and this came together, as far as I know, I think I was here for it at the beginning. Donna B. brought in a group of musicians, and we had a little concert here, and they came up and said, we're going to do a land acknowledgement, and asked, who were the native tribes who occupied this land, and nothing but silence returned from all the Unity faithful who was here. And it was one of those like, hey, we actually don't know, and we're not properly acknowledging the native tribes who were stewards of this land long ago. And so we're trying to do that now. The tribes that were here were Wasco, Warmstrings, and the Paiute tribes. They were the stewards of this land before the European settlers came and did what they did. And we're trying to be, better stewards of the land ourselves, but at the same time, we're trying to acknowledge what happened in the past. And Claire dug up a wonderful document from a university in California on the subject matter. So, Kalinda dug that up? All right, well, Claire sent it to me, so she got all the credit in my heart. I probably skipped over that speed reading. But there's a wonderful paragraph in there that talks about why we do this. Acknowledging the land is a transformative act that works to undo the intentional erasure of the indigenous peoples and is the first step in decolonizing land relations. If you're not familiar with what happened, if you got the history book version of, well, there was a few Indians here, but they were glad to see us and we all became friends and that was about it. If you got that version in history class like I did, it wasn't true. So we actually came here as European settlers. I say we because they're my ancestors, and intentionally erased their existence. It went to great efforts to make everybody forget that they existed and forget their culture because it was obstructing the power that was trying to be established in the area. So that's why we do that today. So please keep them in your heart as well, and we're thanking them for their stewardship of the land. That continues to this day, thankfully. Thankfully, that erasure has not been fully completed. All right. Real quick, before we get to... we did skip the mission statement, sorry. Now again, we're going to leave the death chants at home when we come to the church, when we do our public recitals, okay? Mission statement: we stand together to create a global ecosystem of unity, deep wisdom, and loving kindness. All right. And what I mean by death chants, you know that, no. We stand together to create, those death chants. The ones that happen in the very dark churches where the guys on stage are all dressed up in fancy clothes to make them feel better than everybody else. That's not unity. So let's leave that there, okay, guys? All right. Prayer forms. Who has a prayer form in their hand right now? There's one. These green prayer forms that are in front of you, great way to write down something that you want to see happen in your life, you claiming to have happen in your life or in the life of somebody else. Pop those in the basket during collection. And we're going to pray on them here at Unity for 7 days, and then they go to Silent Unity for 30. Okay. Almost a year of this hosting stuff now, and I almost have those numbers down. All right, so just pop those in the basket. And Jim's going to come on up here and lead us in prayer. That's on mute. Thank you, Jim.
Okay, let's just take a moment to get settled in our seats. Get comfortable, take a few deep breaths. And just know that this is a time of introspection, a time to connect with our higher self, a time to know that the divine is here amongst us. And today I want to use that wonderful energy of the divine to send love and light and blessings to all the animals of the world, the wild ones, the domestic ones, the pets, every animal, knowing that each and every animal receives the love we send them, feels it, knows it. We now see every animal coping, adapting to changes in ways that we never could have imagined because Spirit is leading that change. Each one of these wonderful beasts finds ways to cope, to adapt, to change, and to evolve faster than anyone could have ever imagined to keep up with the changes. These changes are changes of transformation. We see the good that's going to come from them. We see the light. And we take time right now to send love, light, and blessings to every animal, every person, every creature. So let's take a moment in the silence. Just do this in our own way. Send a high intensity of love and know that they feel it. And as we come back into our space here, we just know that we see this earth from a distance. And from a distance, everything is harmony. Everything is beautiful. And so it is.
We're take a minute and find those green forms. Take your time and write down the prayer that you requested today. Sing our prayer song. Breathe in and know I am. Be still and know I am. Let go and know I
Seal it off. You guys are in for a treat today because Eric is on fire. I was at the sound rehearsals this morning. You guys are in for a treat later. All right. This is our time where we celebrate. Who's my mic runner this morning? Did I hear Joselle? Is that right? Jalela? Yeah? We got more mic runners? Group mic runners. Well, we just so happen to have 2 mics. This is the part of the service where we share with the group things that we are very excited and grateful for that have happened to us or with us or for us or around us recently. And I'll start off with a quick example. I am celebrating that Claire, Daniel, and I came here a few days ago and got the plants that were suffering very badly up here repotted in these things. Daniel brought to us all sorts of crazy good wisdom around that, and Claire and I both had our minds completely ruptured as to how houseplants and potted plants work and how to water them and all sorts of other jazz as we put the craziest things in the bottom of this that completely blew our minds. So I am celebrating that, and these plants, while he warned us might look a little bit sheepish for a while, are going to be taken off here soon enough. So I'm celebrating that. Yay. All right. Who's up? One of you guys want to head that way and just look for the hands, and we'll go ahead and hand them a mic. Whoever gets it first goes first. All right, Sylvia, you're up.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm just grateful to be back here because actually since I have become a minister, I've been speaking at lots of other unities too, and it's really cool to be back here. And the other thing I have to note, those of you know I have a new addiction in dog agility. Been doing it not quite a year, and my little girl and I just qualified for the nationals. I can't even believe that. Yeah, I can't believe it. In my early 50s, I trip onto accidentally this new activity that lights me up and that I have talent for, and that right there is a cool lesson.
All right.
Dog has talent for it too.
Eric's next.
Well, it's. I'm going to try not to get choked up here. It's the end of an era. After giving a lot of hard thought, Zeke is officially being retired from guide work. Sorry. So I'm just celebrating the awesome time we've had as guide dog and handler, and we're going to figure out the best way to celebrate the time we have as buds with no responsibilities whatsoever.
Thank you, Eric. Any retired people in the room who can celebrate retirement and can let Zeke know that retirement's awesome? Dave, let's go.
I'm celebrating yesterday. Kalinda and I and Elaine and a couple other people did a Dr. Joe Dispenza had a walk for the world, walking meditation down at Pioneer Park. It was beautiful. And we met a lovely couple, Nate and Kelly, and their kids. We didn't meet the kids, but we invited them today, and they showed up. So welcome to them. And we had a really wonderful time yesterday.
Thank you, Dave. All right, right here.
I'm happy my grandma's here.
Yay to visiting grandmas. Does anybody have a mic on this side before it gets there? No?
I'm celebrating it. My brother and me started clay class.
All right.
I'm celebrating my boyfriend Nick. He just got a job as an ER tech for St. Charles, so that's a huge accomplishment, and he's worked really hard for it.
All right. Big props to everybody working in the medical industry here in Bend. I know a lot of people complain about it, but I think we have great medical here in Bend. Don't you guys think? Some of the most wonderful caretakers available.
We have some online celebrations today. Jane is going to the coast on Saturday. The Stevensons are celebrating a beautiful wedding for Dan's brother in the Bay Area. Joy is celebrating a successful health fair yesterday and being full on with her soul's purpose regarding joy of well-being. And finally, Jim's dog Haiku is alive after a coyote attack.
Ooh. Daryl.
I'm celebrating that my chickens finally started laying eggs.
All right, one more here and one more over here, and we'll wrap her up. Right over here. There he goes.
Surprise, surprise. Yeah, I'm celebrating that I did my first Spartan race and I'm injury-free, and I had such joy and gratefulness for that to happen.
Wow. This 81, Jim? 81? Yes. And if you don't know Spartan, those things are tough. Like, really tough. 81. This guy is my favorite example of how age doesn't matter right here. One more.
We're celebrating Miles and Geo starting ninja class in the evening. So.
Is that like Ninja Warrior stuff? That's very cool. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to celebrate these two for their mic running prowess. All right, now for the Earth celebration, one of my favorite parts of this. So off in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, there was this massive landfill. It was, I think it was their largest, and it was incredibly toxic, actually. Lots of bad things leaching out into the waters and the lands around it. 10 years have passed since it closed, and Rio, along with a private group, have gone to great efforts to restore this land to a mangrove forest, and all the animals which went fleeing long ago have come back, and it's actually a thriving mangrove forest now. So a wonderful example about how some intentional efforts can make a big difference, and we just need to keep doing it. Can I have my youths and William come on up for the blessing of the kids? Well, here's our grown adult. So where are youths? These guys are going to go have fun. So if you're shy about heading out there with them, I encourage you to come on up and head on out. All right. William, you know what you're up to today?
Yeah, we're going to hang out, play some bloodthirsty Uno. And color.
Excellent. All right, let's do our blessing of the kids. I love this prayer. So, we appreciate the holy gift you are. We see the Christ light shining from you. May you always know what a treasure you are. May you always bring your gifts freely and fully to the world. Namaste. Have fun, kiddos. All right, announcements, everybody's favorite time. Said no one. All right, what do we have going on here? Okay, we have recurring events that happen every week, and we're not really citing those every week here now, but we have women's group, we have poetry and open mic night happen about monthly. Sound bath, although it typically does happen every Sunday evening, is not happening tonight or next week, nor is open sing next week, but those are recurring events. Check the calendars for those. There's a lot of cool things happening around here beyond what we're just talking about now. All right. Spirit groups. Kevin, are you sharing about the spirit groups? All right. Always a treat to have Kevin on stage, even if it's just for a little bit.
You gotta unmute me. Spirit groups. Hey, you guys know what spirit groups are, right? Does everybody here know what a spirit group is? Yes, spirit groups are the foundation of us connecting together on a little more intimate basis than what we are able to do here. And it's something that we love. We've always done these. And we have a fall round starting. I have 8 groups, 8 awesome groups that are ready for signups. Most of them will be starting in about 2 weeks. So it's, you need to sign up right away because I think these are going to fill up. And we would love to see 100% participation. That is a lofty goal, don't you think? But why not? Why can't everybody be in a spirit group or 2? It's so rewarding, it's amazing. And Dave is going to be in one this time, isn't he? Yes, he is. I'm going to give you a quick overview of what we've got as far as spirit groups. We have Spiritual Keys of Aging. This is hosted by Reverend Jane. And this will be a great one talking about as you age, changing needs. Anyway, all the descriptions, I'm going to just give you real brief. But all these sheets will be available outside right after service. Come and sign up. Most of them are 6 or 7 people maximum, and some already have people in them, and we haven't even announced them other than right now. So, Spiritual Keys of Aging, Aluna, A Journey to Save the World. This is going to be in Redmond with Daniel Reeder, based on an amazing movie. There's going to be Brene Brown's Braving the Wilderness, based on her book, hosted by Sarah, which sounds pretty awesome. They all sound good, and I want to sign up for all of them, but I'm hosting one as well, which is called Hear Hear Listening Club. So everybody saw my talk a few weeks ago about compassionate, intentional listening. Well, we're going to start with a spirit group and hopefully grow that into a big group that we can all come to and participate in here at Unity. But it's about intentional, compassionate listening. We have Earth Care Regeneration. This is hosted by Colinda. She's there, and you can ask her about this after the service, too. We have the 5 Principles, a foundational, wonderful group, which is hosted by our own Leah over there. And this book is also available free in the lobby. And then we have Peaceful Passing, which is a powerful and important group to be part of. If you know someone who's passed, you think you might pass someday, or you're in the middle of dealing with somebody passing. I think this could be powerful. So Chris, our wonderful camera guy, he's going to be hosting that one. So those are our groups, and we may have one more even by Nico. He's still working on the details. Yes, sorry, if you're online, you can sign up. All these are on the website. You can sign up, but do it quick. Again, we only have 6 or 7 spots per group, and once it's full, it's full. So sign up today. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. So sometimes those are on Zoom, sometimes those are in person. So if you can't get out and about, you have no excuses. You have no excuses. All right. All right, we have our really cool plant-based cooking demonstration. If you're not aware of it, it is well-established science now that if you want to do right by the world and you want to lower your carbon footprint more than any other way you can do it, I don't care if you and all your family stop driving all at once, you're still not going to match the amount of carbon you can remove from your footprint by switching to a plant-based diet at least some days per week. And there is some amazing, delicious plant-based food out there if you haven't had it yet. Come check out Al's plant-based cooking demonstration. It's hosted by the Interfaith Care team, as you can see up there, Interfaith Earth Care team, next Sunday, 2 to 4 p.m. at the Unitarian Universalist, which is up the mountain a little bit. A beautiful place if you haven't been there. I remember Al Chase. He's an amazing vegan chef. He's going to be hosting that. So our
chef and an amazing kitchen.
Yeah.
Take notes, people, because when we go to kitchen for hair.
And I think it's limited to 24, so people do need to RSVP.
Definitely shoot an email out to that address right there. It's going to be a heck of a night. If you're not familiar with plant-based cooking, I encourage you to check it out. All right. Next up, volunteers. This was a volunteer event handling these plants. It's one of many. Claire has something to say on the subject.
I'm going to come up. I'm Claire. I'm
take it.
operations director here. Really quick, I just want to try and see, because I've been announcing this for the past few weeks and I haven't had anyone step up. So really quick, for the youth team, I need someone who is willing to do at the most once a week. Just help with what William just volunteered to do. I mean, once a month. Yes, thank you. Once a month, max, to go for a couple hours and do activities with the kids. Any hands? Anyone who would like to come and see me? Okay. All right, thank you. Christy and Suzanne, come and see me after service. Anyone else? Did I see another hand? Or someone was just scratching their face? Okay. So come and talk to me and I can give you more ideas. Cleaning team, I need 1 or 2 more people. This is literally at most 2 hours a week. You are not cleaning this whole entire space. You are just cleaning a small portion of it. And this is like literally at the most 2 hours once a month. Okay. All right. Come and talk to me afterwards. And we will do that. And last one, greeters need probably 1 or 2 more volunteers. And this is literally 2. Russell's giving me the 2. Okay, this is, you would come once a month, like 30 minutes early, and have a smile on your face and welcome people as they come in. Who can do that? Okay, Pamela, Aaron, Jocelyn, okay, and Nick. All right, so go talk to Russell. Russell, stand up and raise your hand. Come see him, and he can give you the little rundown of what that means and get you on there. Perfect, done, okay.
Sweet.
Off my...
Look at that. Coming together. Russell, you running the greeting team now? I remember when Russell showed up and he was a rookie back there doing the greeting, and here he is years later running the team. That's awesome. Awesome. Greeting Poobah. Excellent, Dave. All right. So again, there's lots going on here at Unity that we can't talk about right now, but check out the website, or you can grab a printed calendar out front. Every month they put a new one out there with all the latest and greatest on it. So. But you really, to get the super latest and greatest online is where you want to be. All right, now we have Soulshine, about to blow our minds.
Bows and flows of angel hair, and ice cream castles in the air, and feather canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, but now they only block the sun. They rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's clouds, illusions I recall. I really don't know clouds at all. Moons and Junes and Ferris wheels, a dizzy dancing way you feel when every fairy tale comes real. I've looked at love that way, but now it's just another show. life that way. But now old friends are acting strange. They shake their heads, they say I've changed. Well, something's lost, but something's gained in living every day. I've looked at life from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow it's life's illusions I recall. I really don't know life. I really don't know life. I really don't know life at
Right? Dave. Woo! Cyvlia has to follow that, and you know she's going to. She's here to talk to us about how our mindsets are, in some ways, corrupting everything we do day in and day out. In some ways. And I'm telling you this because these potted plant things, it's still blowing my mind days later, that I have been basically torturing and killing my potted plants for the entirety of my life based on what commercials and parents and ancestors have told me I should be doing with my potted plants, only to learn that it was mostly wrong. And so let's go ahead and rupture our minds, Cyvlia. Thank you. Cyvlia. All right, round of applause.
You're on fire today. I would not have introduced myself saying I'm here to rupture your mind, but here we go. Happy fall. Happy equinox. What an abrupt shift in temperature, huh? So what do you call a small pepper in the fall? A little chili. Between Nate and I, this is. I was already going to tell that dorky joke before you told yours. And gosh, Soulshine, really, that's a... What a privilege, and feels like also a heavier responsibility to get up to talk after a performance like that. Thank you. Amazing. So each of us moves through life viewing the world around us through a set of beliefs that we've taken in, a set of assumptions that we're accepting. This lens, it influences literally all of our perceptions. It influences our values. In addition to our individual worldviews that we start laying down as little kids, we all are swimming through a cultural stew, through a cultural collective worldview that dramatically also influences our life experiences. And this is true no matter what culture you're raised in. There is a collective worldview. And this becomes programming that we overlay on virtually everything that we experience. And it's often either unconscious or subconscious, but it has tremendous influence over our levels of peace and happiness or lack thereof. Now, one of the most intriguing things about worldview is that some of it's true and some of it's not. Just because we believe a thing doesn't necessarily mean that it is actually truth. And the more aware we can become, especially of those sub and unconscious beliefs, the more agency, the more control we can have over our experiences in our own individual lives and also over our ability to shape society. Now, today I'm going to talk a little bit about the cultural worldview that we share mostly in this culture that we're in together. And then I'm going to bring it down into our personal worldviews and mindsets. The worldview that currently dominates most of humanity is Western consumerism. That's an actual ideology. It is, you can Google it, you can look it up. It's a structure, a societal structure that views people as customers and consumers, and that urges them to buy, us to buy, things. That is the basis of this connected global economy that is the driving force of our cultural worldview at this time. Consumerism is inextricably linked to extractive capitalism. We extract resources from nature, and we extract time and money from people in the roles of laborers, workers, and then consumers. That is the collective that we're all navigating together. And this kind of extractive capitalism is designed to mostly benefit the people who already possess the wealth and who own the means of producing all the products that we are showered with. And of course, you all know, part of that culture, that collective mindset that we're in, is a really, really powerful, subtle, sophisticated marketing industry that continuously feeds us the story that we need more stuff, that we're going to gain more fulfillment, more happiness through material possession. And we are all, even those who are aware of this and try to resist it, we're susceptible to it because evolutionarily, our brains are wired to it. It is literally related to the fight or flight type of hormonal structure that we developed as we were moving along as a species in the form of evolution. There is proven to be that we will actually have a hit of the feel-good chemical dopamine when we make a purchase, even when we know we're going to have buyer's remorse afterwards. And anytime you have repeated dopamine hits, that can become addictive or at very least habitual. This is what we're navigating together. Western consumerism consistently tells us stories like more stuff is always better. You're going to be way sexier, way cooler if you buy that new car or that new cell phone or that new fill in the blank, that new outfit. And that it tells us that our worth as a human being is largely based on our bank account or how much stuff we have, how much wealth we have. Those are stories that we get in this culture a lot. It's the same worldview that tells us that humans are apart from and superior to all the rest of nature, all the other animals that we prayed for, all of everything. That's part of this worldview. It tells us that it's better or at least acceptable to have massive factory farms so that we can have cheap meat, endless supplies of plastic gadgets and things, that it's acceptable to have those things rather than having landscapes, skies, and oceans that are filled with glorious, amazing, diverse creatures. That's part of the story that we're all swimming through together. Now, I would like to point out that such a worldview and our current economic system, I do not believe, could have taken shape if it were not from a consciousness of separation, a consciousness of viewing ourselves apart from one another, apart from all the rest of nature that we are actually inextricably connected to. It also required a separation, a dropping of the concept of the sacred. This had to be at play in order to wind up in this soup that we're swimming through right now. It's a worldview and a system that is driven by and that drives spiritual starvation. It's also a worldview that is failing right now. It is shifting right now. It has run a course, and we're beginning to see that left and right. Right now, as I speak, there are massive worker strikes across multiple industries, disruptive worker strikes. There are environmental protests going on All around the globe, there are movements to disinvest in a destructive financial system, to move our money differently. There are demands for social justice, particularly for groups and populations who have been most harmed or are being most harmed by the current status quo system. Now, and nature is kind of pounding us right now. She's flexing her muscles and showing us who's boss. All of this stuff is happening, and we can tend to think that these are all separate issues in these various silos. You're an environmentalist over here or a social activist over there. It's actually the same thing. It is the turning away from what we have considered to be a norm for quite some time. It is the beginning of birthing a whole new way coming forth. We are all in the middle of a collective mindset shift. That's a trippy thing to be experiencing. When the old ways that we are going about things, the ways we're doing things, whether it's in our personal lives or in our collective at a societal level, when those become fundamentally unsustainable, change happens, right? It happens in our own lives, and it's going to happen, it is happening at that macro level, because nature itself will not sustain completely unsustainable ways of being for any species, including our own. Much of this, what we see and hear, I think, and I deal in these realms a lot, so I know there's a lot of fear about this. It feels tumultuous. It does feel scary. It adds to a sense of uncertainty, not really knowing what's coming. I just encourage us to consider that this is possibly the most profoundly positive portal that any of us have ever experienced. Right now, these pressure points, nature doesn't evolve until a species hits a pressure point and needs to adapt, needs to make a shift, as was prayed about earlier. This is potentially the time that we all get to be a part of right now. The greatest urge of creation is begetting more creation. That is still alive, right? The mind of God is not about diminishment. And I say mind with a capital M. This divine mind that we are all a part of is not about contraction or diminishment. It's about expansion and creation. It's about beauty. I speak about these topics a lot because I'm a geek, but also because I truly believe that the more of us who question, even if we don't have the complete answers, the more of us who question status quo systems, who question norms, just because a thing is normal doesn't mean it's good, right? The more of us who do that, and the more of us who, as much as we can, while we are in a system, do what we can to not just blindly perpetuate an unhealthy system, the more of us that do that, I think the more quickly and peacefully and wisely we will make this evolutionary transition that we are in the midst of. Now, you know, I have always loved post-apocalyptic stories. And I think initially part of it was because I thought I was kind of a badass. You know, I'm strong and I'm fit, and I thought I would do pretty well in a dystopian survivalist setting. It was a little fantasy I was playing for myself. Now I'm 56 and I got a lot of hard miles and hardware in this body, and I've co-created this little life that I love and is peaceful, and the whole survivalist dystopian thing does not seem so good to me now. You know, I mean they are very unlikely to have wonderfully fun dog agility competitions in a truly apocalyptic setting, right? So I've shifted my thinking about that a little, but I'm still really drawn to those stories. And that's because the deeper aspect of it is, for whatever reason, from as early as I can remember, I have always sensed the insanity in the current worldview. It's like I could kind of see behind a veil, and I wanted something better. I am now
because I do think our stories are so important, I have recently gotten lit up by this idea of beginning to develop a sort of post-apocalyptic story. What's this going to look like when we actually start redesigning civilization in a really beautiful way? That's going to happen. That story just doesn't get told. All the post-apocalyptic stories and TV shows and everything else, they're all about the violence. They're all about the dog-eat-dog scenario, which I'm going to get to in a minute. That's an assumption. I don't mean it, Zeke. Zeke knows that. That's all right. There are two storylines that thread through this Western consumerism worldview related to what I was just speaking about. One is that there's not enough, that everybody can't have enough. That's what drives craziness, like stockpiling toilet paper during COVID. The other one is that human nature is bad and violent. And virtually every post-apocalyptic tale tells that story. But what if it's not true? I have recently been reading the book Humankind, and I so recommend it. Reverend Jane, our senior minister, was recommending this months ago. The author is basically challenging this assumption that basic human nature is dark and violent, and he's doing it in an incredibly well-documented, evidence-based way. He's not just putting out speculation. And if you think about it, like he gives a lot of examples that when large-scale disasters hit, we often see the most noble aspects of humans, right? People risk themselves for others. We open our homes to strangers. I am going to share 3 super quick examples of where I have personally experienced that. Decades ago, I was living up in Washington State, and we were in a big flooding event in the watershed that I was in. My own little mobile home in the mobile home park was safe, but just a couple miles down the way, it wasn't. And I was working construction at the time, and I'd been dealing with a lot of this water. I was cold, I was tired, I was wet, whatever. It was, cold outside. But when I heard that my neighbors' homes were about to be flooded and that people, I guess it probably was the local city or something, were rushing sand and sandbags, I immediately went and I don't think I ever exchanged a name with anyone. I just filled sandbags and helped them stack to save their home, right? And then I went home and crashed. Several years ago, I was one of the first on the scene to a really pretty horrific head-on motorhome to motorhome crash south of Bend. It was clear there were a few fatalities. There had been a road construction crew there, and I was the first car behind the wreck. So we were the first on the scene before first responders got there. And, fluid everywhere was not a pretty scene. And suddenly in one of the flipped over, real small, more van than motorhome was flipped over, a baby started crying. And without even thinking about it, I said, "There are babies in there!" And all of us jumped in. And afterwards, we only realized we were wading through gasoline and everything else as we were in there pulling through things and getting these 2 little kids out. They were fine, by the way, which was really great. And then, I think many of us experienced during COVID, in all of that early fear and early uncertainty, many of us started reaching out to neighbors that we hadn't before, or checking in on our elderly friends. And in my experience, speaking from the I wasn't really thinking in any of those times. It was a feeling. It was an innate nature of compassion and wanting to help. I think that is more true nature, true human nature, than what Hollywood often portrays. This book, Humankind, gives this really cool, juxtaposed story. So how many of you have read Lord of the Flies or had to read Lord of the Flies in school? Right? This is considered classic literature, and it's a fictional story about this group of boys who get stranded on a deserted island, And they're there for a while, and over time they do indeed devolve into violence and nastiness and brutality. Well, the author of Humankind started questioning that story because he did some research on the author of Lord of Flies, who happened himself to have a pretty dark outlook. This guy has found a real-life Lord of the Flies example. A number of years ago, a group of boys on the island of Tonga, which is way out in the ocean off of Australia and New Zealand, they got a little mischievous and they stole a fisherman's boat, and they were going to sail it to, eventually New Zealand is where they were headed. And I think it was 8 boys all total. Within just a day or two, they got hit by a storm, totally didn't know what they were doing, broke the mast. They were adrift on the ocean for 8 days, and then they bumped into a little island. It's now called the island of Ata. It is considered, ATA, it is considered uninhabitable. And they were there for a year. When they were finally discovered by a crab fishing captain, what they found was that these guys, these young boys, had created this whole civilization where they shared chores. At some times, some got water, they swapped chores out, they had a very organized system going. They actually had one guy that broke a leg really badly, and they figured out how to take care of him as best they could. And when they would fight, when they would have conflict, because we humans do, they had agreed upon a system where the 2 or however many the kids that were in conflict would go to the opposite sides of the island for a set period of time, and then others would eventually go and get them, and they'd bring them back and talk through it and sort it all out. They instinctively knew that they needed to be cooperative and collective, and they remained friends through the entire rest of their lives. That is the true Lord of the Flies story. Yeah. I think it's hard sometimes to recognize the scale of system and mindset change that we're in, because it's like that old cliche, you can't see the forest through the trees, because there is so much going on. But I believe staying open to the awareness that we are in a profound and profoundly positive and profoundly necessary collective shift is incredibly useful. Systems change happens to be one of my professional, way pre-minister days, professional areas of training and expertise. And one of the almost universal constants about system change is it usually doesn't happen in just a smooth, linear way. There are usually aspects, elements of the old system that bulk, that dig in, that don't really want things to change. And I think we're seeing that in our society right now. We're seeing some old remnants that are digging in, right? It's good old boys and good old gals who either want things to stay as they are or even potentially go back. They are the minority. Overall, they are the minority. More of us, most of us, want something better than that. Don't you? And can't you feel the possibility for that? That's a critically important thing, because our news doesn't show us that possibility very often. Those are, and I'm a news junkie. I'm not saying don't do it, don't view it, but be smart in how we do it. What if we navigate these bumpy system change times we're in? What if we do this by coming together, like the boys on that island, knowing that cooperation is really a survival instinct, knowing that goodness is our nature and that it just feels better? What if we navigate this, come through it with a consciousness of oneness and some hope? What if this actually turns out, what if all of this tumult actually turns out to bring out the best in us, which is usually what happens when we're in a collective crisis? There are a few fringes who may go off looting, but most of us come together to help. Why would it be any different now in this system change that we're in? What if this actually turns out to be beautiful? I think the more we can hold to Jim's beautiful prayer, the more we can hold open that possibility without just being ostriches putting our head in the sand, the more likely we're going to get through it in an empowered and beautiful way. You know, imagination is one of Unity's 12 spiritual powers. I speak about those every so often. So often humans use our imagination to torture ourselves, right? What if this is actually a wild, crazy, precious, precarious time when our imagination can help us create a genuinely beautiful world? That possibility exists. Now, a collective worldview is, of course, made up of individual worldviews or mindsets. And if some of you are thinking as I'm speaking, wait a minute, I don't really hold those values of Western consumerism, I feel the same way. I do, and I believe there are people in this room who are already challenging this and who are pretty far outside the norm on that in a really great way, in my opinion. And yet we are still in a system. And that's why I share it, because I know I'm not telling many of you anything you don't know. I'm just hopefully giving a little pep talk for us to continue to go deeper and to question harder and to ask, why am I buying that? Why am I looking toward this, right? Not to beat ourselves up, but just to awaken a little more fully each moment. I've talked before, but I love this concept. In shamanism, there's a concept called an egregore. And what that is it's the concept that when enough people start believing in something that's not very healthy, something that is kind of dark, when that gets enough collective momentum, it actually becomes kind of an evil entity itself. You can think of the social calamities of Nazism, slavery. I would put Western consumerism in that same group. It's an egregore. And the way you disintegrate an egregore is not shooting it, not strangling it. The more of us who quit accepting it, the smaller it gets. That's how we disintegrate mindsets that are damaging to us. At a personal level, at an individual mindset level, you know, we're all born perfect, absolutely perfect. And then our parents get a hold of us, right? As well-intentioned as they are, it's part of our human pathway. We start developing, we start layering on beliefs that may or may not be true, and they start to shape everything we experience. Now, I'm going to give you a personal example of how, this is going to seem silly, but how much we can improve our lives when we start questioning that programming, our individual programming. I was raised, particularly by my father, that people were really not to be trusted, and that you should be ready to protect yourself against all variety of things that happen. And when I first moved into this little home that I love 20 years ago, my little lot has a adjacent. I could build an accessory dwelling unit, right? It's zoned. It's got a little spare lot on the side of it that my house doesn't bump into, and it's even fenced off from my main backyard. And very shortly after I moved in there, 20 years ago, my neighbors from across the cul-de-sac came over and asked if they could start parking their landscaping business equipment there. Ooh. Everything in my programming was like, I could hear my dad saying, what if they back into the fence? What if they break their equipment and blame you? You know, what if they won't? All of that, but I had already started questioning those knee-jerk programmings, and my old dog Elkie had already taken a real shine to these people, and they have her to thank. I have her to thank, because letting them start to use that lot that I wasn't really using is one of the best moves I've ever made in this life. These people have now become my non-DNA parents, or my non-DNA, non-DNA family, more like a brother and sister. I have non-DNA parents, that's not these two. They take care of me, they take care of my dogs, they take care of my whole pack. I know for sure if they were to break anything of mine, I'm going to get it back in better shape than I ever would have. That willingness to question and to trust and to expand was incredibly transformative and paid back way beyond tenfold. Do you hold the beliefs that you're limited? Do you believe you should have done this thing or that thing or that thing at some previous point in your life? Do you believe you don't work hard enough to really get what you want? Do you believe that all the bad stuff that's happened to you is just too much to overcome in this lifetime? Do you believe that you're not very important in the grand scheme of things? And do you believe people can't be trusted? These are just some ideas I throw out there. Do we believe we have to struggle so that we'll grow? We have a lot of us martyrs in the spiritual movement, don't we? That's a common thread. I've heard a lot. I've had it myself. Do we believe that any of those things are true? Do you know for sure that any of those things that may have resonated with you about yourself right there are true? Do you know for sure that they're true? I would offer you don't. We can't, not really. We just choose to believe them. What if we believed I am a powerful spiritual being way beyond the confines of this body? What if we really believed that? What if we believed I am important to every single being I interact with? I am beautiful. I am enough. I am, as that song we sing, I am truly, in fact, holy. And life is good, human nature is good and kind, and the future is going to be beautiful. Your beliefs are your beliefs, and you are the only one who can change them. And you also are the only one who has the power to do so. A Course in Miracles says one of the most empowered statements we can make is, I know nothing, because it opens up space on the altars of our minds for truth to flow in. As we gain more and more awareness and agency over our beliefs, our mindsets, our worldviews, we can fundamentally make our lives for the better and make our world better. Much love.
Thank you, Cyvlia.
And Dave is going to lead us in a meditation now.
So let's just take a minute or two. Let's put our feet flat on the floor. Reflect on Cyvlia's message and all that we felt and heard here today. Just breathe together. our focus back to here and now for Soul Shine.
It's a work in progress. You think you own whatever land you land on. The earth is just a dead thing you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. You think the only people who are people are the people who look and think like you. But if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew, you never knew. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon? Or ask the grinning bobcat why he grinned? Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Come run the hidden pine trails of the forest. Come taste the sun's sweet berries of the earth. Come roll in all the riches all around you. And for once, never wonder what they're worth. The rainstorm and the river are my brothers. The heron and the otter are my friends. And we are all connected to each other in a circle, in a hoop that never ends. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon? Or let the eagle tell you where he's been? Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Oh, can you paint with all the colors of the wind? How high does the sycamore grow? If you cut it down, then you'll never know. And you'll never hear the wolf cry to the blue corn moon. For whether we are white or copper skinned, we need to sing with all the voices of the mountains. We need to paint with all the colors of the wind. You can own the earth and still all you'll own is earth until you can paint with all the colors of the wind. can paint with all the colors of. Paint with all the colors of. You can paint with all the colors of the wind.
Was I lying? These guys
Nope.
are on fire today.
Yep.
For sure. Woo. Anybody? Anybody's mind sufficiently blown? Yes? A little mind bomb to help clear out some of that baggage that doesn't serve us anymore. We are so blessed to have this brilliance all around us between Soulshine and their singing and Cyvlia Hayes. Another round of applause for Cyvlia. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I am thoroughly impressed with where she's going with her reverendness right now. The last couple talks from Cyvlia have been off the charts, in my opinion. So thank you, Cyvlia. This is our fun time when we like to invite the new guests, and we know for a fact that we have some right here. This is also the time where we try and encourage and, well, I kind of force the issue when I'm on stage. Bunch of Nates around here today. Would you guys please stand and introduce yourselves? Claire's going to come over with a mic. You don't have to, but I'm going to keep pushing it.
Yeah. Is this working? No?
Yeah, we do. They'll get it going back there.
Now?
Oh, third time's the charm.
Hey everyone, my name's Nate Norman. Thanks for the warm welcome and the beautiful information and music and lovely people. This is my family.
Welcome.
And this is actually what it's always like, so no. Yeah, we moved to Bend 3 months ago, roughly, about 3 months ago. Spent the last 3 years before that in Costa Rica. So that was a really good experience. Knew we wanted to come back to 2.5, a little more than 2.5. Knew we wanted to come back to the United States for a variety of reasons, and we're looking for a place to come, and Bend had a lot of the things that we were looking for, so we showed up here. Like Dave said, I met him yesterday at the Joe Dispenza walking meditation that they were doing, which was really cool. And me and my wife have been on our own spiritual journeys for many years, and glad to land in a place and meet some like-minded individuals who, you know, are carrying the good work forward. So I'll let my wife say something.
Yes, I'm Kelly, and I don't think you introduced our kids. We have 6 kids. Raynon is here, and we have Sienna, and then the other ones are back there, Travers and Tulsi, Vera, and Tayo. Yeah, so like Nate said, you can't miss us. we're a big crew, and we look forward to being in the community more.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you. Clearly not afraid of the mic. Do we have any more guests here?
Say hello, and you don't have to. Okay,
No.
cool.
All right. Thank you, guys. So there's blue cards in the chairs in front of you. If you would like to stay connected with us and hear more about what's going on here, if you fill out that blue card, nobody's coming to your house, but you will be getting on the email list to keep you updated as to what's going on around here and what the next week's talk is. You can just pop those in the baskets as they head around here in a little bit, which brings us to the the baskets. It's time for offerings. I have a greeters come on up. So it's also the time where we get to vote with our dollar. I use that term a lot, and I'm trying to get that phrase out there because I personally think that's the most powerful vote that we have. If you've watched politics at all, you know what makes politics work nowadays in America? The dollar. The dollar. So where your dollar goes, power goes with it. And so this right now is a great opportunity to send your dollars and your power and extra power from the universe to a community that we hope you think does right by the world and does right by you and helps raise consciousness, as our mission statement says. So we're going to send our greeters out. Lots of ways to give. My personal favorite is texting the donations in. You set that up once, and then you just type a number into that text, and you send that number off, and you've given that amount in seconds. We also take good old-fashioned cash and checks. If you want to have your donation tracked in your name, there's pink envelopes in the chairs in front of you. You can go ahead and put your check or cash in there, and Unity will track that for you. If you're donating electronically, it already is tracked, so you don't need to worry about it. All right. Thanks, guys. Let's get it out.
Let's sing our happy song.
I got gratitude in my heart. I got gratitude in my soul. And I just want to say thank you. And I just want to say thank you. And thank you. I just want to say thank you for it all. Thank you for it all.
One more time.
I got gratitude in my heart. In my heart. I got gratitude in my soul. In my soul, baby. I just want to say thank you. I just want to say thank you.
Muchos gracias.
I just want to say thank you for it all. Thank you for it all.
Thank you for these donations. We have noticed a slight uptick in recurring donations, and the size of the donations are coming up, and we greatly appreciate that, so we can go out and do good works in the world. As we're about to find out how this money is going to work, we're going to bless this offering. From the love of pure spirit within us, we bless these gifts. We send them forth to heal, bless, and prosper. They are evidence of our faith and belief. They do good work in the world and return to us multiplied abundantly, and so it is. All right. I love that prayer. All right, now we're going to read the prayer of attention to send us off into the world. If you're on Zoom right now, please stay and socialize with the other Zoomers out there. We're going to keep that open for you. And thank you for coming, and we hope to see you next week and the weeks ahead. And let's keep this prayer of intention. And sign up for spirit groups. Act quick before they all fill up. One of the first things I did as a new member of Unity was join a spirit group, and it was transformative and amazing, and it really allowed me to dig into the community here and meet some new people who are now cherished friends. So I encourage you to step forward. If you've got some fear around it, power through it. Good things are on the other side. All right, so let's read this prayer of intention as we go out into the world. Oh, I'm being reminded here by the memories. If you would like a prayer after service personalized for you, come on up here. You're going to see the prayer team leaders. They're wearing their white stoles like Jim right here. They're here to pray with you, pray for you, pray for someone else, and bring very good things into your life in the world. And don't be afraid. They love doing it as you're not putting them out in the slightest. No need to be shy. All right, let's send ourselves out into the world with our prayer of intention. Holy light shines within and all around me. A presence of love that is always there. I am that presence. I am a radiant field of love energy. I am holy light. My essence cradles and guides me. I am a gift in this world. I go forth from here in joy to bless the world with my loving light. All right, that last line. Let's go bless the world with our loving light. It needs it. Thank you, everyone.
Have a little faith. I just want